you are a big DIYer, your crafty projects probably lead to lots of leftovers. So Tamara is back with creative ways to repurpose all those fabric scraps you have laying around the house. Tamara, I love this idea because it's good for you and it's good for the environment, right?
Absolutely. You know, every year North Americans send over 10 million tons of textile waste to landfill, and 95% of it could have been reused or recycled. So we know this includes clothing, home linens, like sheets or towels. And while fast fashion is definitely the biggest culprit, what was of interest to me was interior design fabrics and the waste that comes from my industry. So at a residential decorating or interior design firm like Curran Field, you know, we have these little samples and we use them to create plans or give them to clients, and they can become redundant and discontinued. And then what happens to that? So I met a woman named Eve Weinberg who started a project called Eve Likes Green, and her goal was to keep interior design fabrics out of landfills, because the other thing is these represent the highest quality of product in the world. And yet you have these trade showrooms who would have, you know, bags and bags of leftover samples they didn't need or couldn't use. So that was going to landfill. And what I want to show everyone today is, you know, some ideas of what you can do if you have leftover fabric around the house. It could be from bedding, it could be from clothing, or it could be from an interior decorating project where you have some extra.
It's true. We do hear about the waste all the time when it comes to fast fashion, but not when it comes to decor. There's got to be a ton of it. So how can we start to use up our fabric remnants, T?
Okay, well, one idea I love is just fabric as art. So here we have a beautiful piece of fabric framed, and what I've done here is I've just taken a motif that I wanted to create into the focal point. In this case, it's a bird, and of course, I positioned it in my frame. I cut apart the sample, and there you have it. It looks like a little painting. And then I also have a project I did on Cityline over 10 years ago, and it still hangs in my hallway. And this is where I took a large flower from a piece of fabric, I cut it out very carefully and used double-sided tape to attach it to matting. So in both cases, you're working with fabric that has some kind of motif that you want to feature.
Ooh, that's a really good idea, making your own custom art. Okay, let's talk about your next suggestion. What else can we do?
Okay, so you don't need a lot of fabric to make tea towels, napkins, cocktail napkins, table linens in general, like a placemat. So a cocktail napkin can be as small as, you know, a 5-inch square. I love what Eve Likes Green does because she has this amazing surged edge, usually in a contrast color, and, you know, they don't have to match. It doesn't have to be a perfect set. This is one of the things I really like, is that you can mix and match patterns, and then that can be the unifying thing. And just, you know, I would say stick with natural fibers like linen and cotton because you want it to be absorbent.
Such a good idea, especially if you like to entertain. Okay, Tamara, what if you have a bunch of smaller pieces left over?
Okay, so there's some fun ideas. One is sachets. And this is a super cute one with just a little bit of ribbon attached. I've got a photo that I sent of sachets I bought for my mother from Anthropology, and that patchwork design is super cute, and that could be easily replicated. So you would fill it with lavender, or you could mix together rice and Epsom salts with essential oils. Pretty easy to make, and I love that little idea with small pieces.
Okay, so and super easy and a nice way to like pass around the fragrance. I love that. You have another idea that we can use if we've got different smaller scraps hanging around?
Yes, so just getting into that concept of patchwork. These cushions are made by Eve, and, you know, love the way, again, just combining different fabrics. This pillow was made by MBM Home, and this is from my mudroom. So again, we used leftover fabrics that I had for the other cushions, and then made this interesting mix. And that's just a great solution. Of course, I also have a baby quilt that's like stunningly gorgeous. Takes a bit more skill, but want to say that when you're quilting, they don't specifically have to be quilting fabrics. You know, think outside the box.
I love that. I know growing up, we used to make our own Barbie doll clothes. So it's a great way to use up some of those scraps, and Barbie will have a banging wardrobe. Tamara, thank you so much. Great ideas. We're going to share them all on our website so that you can revisit them anytime you need to. Thanks for that information.